It's no secret that the media and broadcast industries are very male-dominated, but that hasn't stopped women from making their mark and showing that's where they belong too. You'll hear the stories of 5 women in the industry doing just that. You hear about how they got started, some of their experiences, the support they've received and they want to give to others, as well as some advice they have for those going into the industry. Let's go check it out.
So it was sports that kind of drove me into this. And then it basically honestly took a turn into news because it's easier to get a job in news, especially as a female. I don't know if you paid attention, this is to anybody, but most of the time people that are higher up are male, or they were previously an athlete themselves. um, in smaller markets, it's common to have female sports reporters, but it's more common to have male sports reporters. That's just the way it is.
I got an internship with the athletics department at Iowa State, which then got me into sports media for like PR versus journalism. And that kind of changed my role. I basically led the video production for gymnastics at Iowa State. So that kind of like leading that smaller sport compared to football or men's basketball, like that kind of like led me into, oh, I can do this full time as a job.
I started broadcasting when I was 15 years old. My grandfather was a broadcaster and had an extra headset for a Division III women's basketball game. And I just tried it out and fell in love with it, and then continued that through high school and college. And it wasn't until the summer of 2014, I was an intern, a broadcast intern with a summer collegiate team in Palmer, Alaska, that I fell in love with baseball and the day in, day out grind of it all. And so I continued that and took a few more years before I finally got into minor league baseball. But I finally got my sort of break, as you will, with the Lexington Legends in Kentucky. And I've been in baseball ever since.
I knew that I wanted to pursue sports, so I graduated from Oklahoma State with a double major in audio and video production and broadcast journalism because I wanted to do a little bit of everything. And a minor in zoology, just that I could get that little taste of science. And then I got my first job out in Dodge City, Kansas, covering high school sports in a bureau for KWCH in Wichita.
I'd had a couple of internships in college. I worked for KFOR, which is a news station in Oklahoma. And I started out as an intern for the summer, and then I got hired on part-time as an editor and a writer. So I wrote for the newscast, I ran teleprompter, printed scripts, I edited video, all kinds of stuff, and just to get my foot in the door and figure out what I wanted to do and like what news actually using my degree would look like.
Staying in video is something I wanted to do just because it changes so much and so quickly. I love social media, so watching what other people are doing in bigger P5 schools and watching what D2 and D3 and everybody's doing and mixing it together kind of helps my brain churn into thinking different ways about how I can push myself in Premiere or After Effects or some other thing, which kind of helps me, what's the word I'm looking for, which kind of helps me like motivate myself.
I just love how you can go to work in the morning and have no idea what your day is going to entail. It's whether it's a pop-up storm and you have to pull tarp at 2:00, or, you have an interview request with a player and you have to coordinate that, to the game itself of you sit down and you have no idea how the game is going to unfold, and having that challenge is just so fun. Honestly, I can never work a 9-to-5 job because I just can't sit still now. I always want to go help people and, go sell a ticket and for things like that. So that's kind of what has drawn me to baseball and to minor league baseball.
I think as a journalist, that's kind of why I wanted to do this, is because I wanted to tell the stories of people. And I think you get that so well when you can see them, you can almost feel their emotion. And some writers can do that through newspaper, and that's awesome. That's amazing through magazine. But through me, I just tell it through visuals and through emotion, sound, and sight.
So to tell these stories and show these people, and even female athletes, they don't get a whole lot of love when it comes to the media. I want to go out there and I want to be a light for them. I want to show how good female athletes are too. And so I work for the Lord, and I believe that He guides me and is a huge guiding principle in how I make my decisions and my morals and what I do in my job and in life. And that's why I think it's so important to be able to have that good career life balance.
I love being able to do what I do and being able to work in the news or just on camera at least, whether that was with sports or now with the news. With sports, I think I just loved being able to talk about something that I was so passionate about. And with news, I think that I'm able to tell these people's stories. And, especially right now with the whole pandemic and just the whole world being in such an odd time, it's really, really cool to be able to share what our community is doing and how they're helping people. And they're just doing it out of the kindness of their heart. They're doing it to help our community and to help us all get stronger, to help people on the front lines have masks, or to help feed people who can't get food right now.
Even just the anchors that have been there for a long time. On Thursday when I went to Dodge City and did a story, the main anchors both texted me, "Hey, you did great today, like good work out there. I know it's hard, but you're doing great." Just the recognition, I think, and I don't always need that. I don't need the recognition, but to have it sometimes it's important, because it's hard to be out there every day, not seeing them, especially right now, to feel like, okay, I'm doing a good job. So I think the reinforcement, but I also think the criticism is just as important, because if I'm out there for months just doing live shots after live shots and not being told if I'm doing good or bad, how am I going to grow?
As women in this industry, when you walk into a locker room, you walk in like you own it. Like you walk in like you belong there. I think a lot of women go into locker rooms and feel a little bit uncomfortable because they're kind of out of their element. They're surrounded by a bunch of men, but this is your job and this is what you love, and you're going in there and you know just as much as the next guy. And if you're doing your job and this is a passion of yours, then you're at the same level as everybody else, and you deserve to have that confidence going in there and owning that room. And even in press conferences, a lot of people are scared to speak up and ask questions. If you have a good question, speak up, and the people that you're interviewing will recognize that. So just being able to tell women, Freeland, other women who are aspiring to be in this industry, is that you have to be confident in who you are and go with it. Like, be you and don't try to be anybody else. That's so important. And if you love it, people are going to see that because you are going to emulate that.
Shooting different sports means shooting them differently. You can't shoot basketball the same as gymnastics. So having my boss there and having a decent gymnastics team and the support we had, just my boss was just like, go out there and do it. And then we came back after a meet or came back after a practice, and he'd be like, next time shoot it this way, or next time might come up differently, or next time change the lighting. So like it took a lot of trial and error. And Jay, the coach, was just like, I love your coverage, like do whatever, just make us look good. So he was just understanding like, hey, yeah, maybe I didn't look so good in the light, but next time you know what to do. And so having both the coach and my boss both being okay with the mistakes, the little mistakes I made, kind of made me into the person that I was.
I think the most difficult obstacle and that I've faced is just getting into the business, just unfortunately based on my gender. So the story I always go to, unfortunately, is I was sitting down when what I thought was a job interview, and it was for an assistant position. It wasn't even for the voice of a team or anything. And they said that they couldn't hire me because I was a female. And then they were like, but I can critique your tape and, help you in that sense. I was like, wait, what? No, that was awful. And that was probably my first huge realization that this was going to be a lot more difficult just because I'm not a man. But then whenever I look back at that, I think that definitely pushed me to kind of bring this into the attention of people of, it is tougher for females in this industry, but I think that, there's now more female broadcasters in minor league baseball, and it's really encouraging to see how many apply each year, and those numbers are growing.
Say for myself, every day I go out there and I try to report on the facts, and I try to make people understand, what we're doing is trying to help, even if the story is not even a positive story. We're just trying to make people aware. And like you said, you just have to take the good with the bad. There's going to be bad days, but that's in any job. And there's so many more good days than there are the bad days. You know, I'm just thankful I even have a job right now. A lot of people are at home worried about their next paycheck, and I'm at home, but I'm working from home, and I'm very thankful for that.
I think if you're a female in college wanting to join sports, just be confident in yourself for sure. Don't let the bad guys come get you. You can do it just as much as everybody else. It's okay to take internships out of college. I know a lot of my parents were disappointed in me taking an internship out of college, but like I wouldn't be where I am today without those internships. So as much as it hurts the wallet and you see your student loans coming at you, like it's okay. It'll pay off in the end.
Being able to actually get into the field and see what it's going to be like, and getting your hands dirty, you know, actually working and seeing what would my day-to-day look like, and then making those connections, meeting as many people as you can, because you don't know where they're going to end up or who you might need, you know, on your side vouching for you for the next job, or for your first job. And then for women who want to get into sports, I would say you have to have thick skin. It is really, really, really difficult. You know, people who are on camera at all, any kind of talent, as they say, they get bombarded with all kinds of emails, messages. I mean, people think that they can say whatever they want behind their computer screen to us. But what I've received from being on the news compared to what I had received working in sports, two completely different things. What I get now, it's laughable. What I got in sports, I had to file police reports. It's really difficult because people will automatically assume that because you're a woman, you don't know what you're talking about.
I would say just keep going. I mean, you're going to meet hurdles and see obstacles every step of the way. And that is true in the broadcast kind of realm. It's super, super competitive, but females kind of find obstacles more often than men. And just to not let it get women down. You know, I could have left that interview after being told I couldn't be hired because of my gender, and I could have quit baseball right then and just stopped. But as I've noticed, there's more and more people that are not like that. And so once you can find that avenue of people who are actually on the forefront and forward thinking and accepting of everyone, then you're golden. Then you're there and you have that support. So I just say just keep going. You're going to have times where it really sucks, but it's totally worth it in the end.
Your identity cannot be in your job. That cannot be the sole purpose that you are living, because inevitably it will let you down. Your job will let you down. Coaches will let you down. Bosses will let you down. I mean, you'll even let yourself down. You'll make mistakes. That's what we all do because we're all human. But in the end, if you're a grinder, you're going to make it in this industry and you're going to be really successful. But also find that line where it doesn't define you either. Because if you do, then you'll be okay with whatever happens.